Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Sara Lubratt. We're sitting on the floor today to talk about my feelings about 2023 and looking forward to 2024. I just got out of a therapy session and we were kind of talking about what I accomplished in 2023 and reframing some of the things where I didn't feel like I hit some of the goals that I had set at the beginning of 2023 into being really grateful for some of the things that I was able to accomplish, which I may not have been able to predict at the beginning of 2023. And that's one of my biggest takeaways from 2023 is that things change way faster than I can ever expect. And things just have a funny way of just constantly shifting whether or not you're ready for them, which I mentioned to my therapist because I was nervous about setting goals for 2024, knowing that some of the goals that I set I might not hit because things are just gonna change and life is what it is. And I am very grateful to myself a year ago and some of the goals that she had set and some of the things that she set out to do. I think she did an amazing job. And part of why I wanted to sit down and film this video is so that the Sara that is at the end of 2024 can come back and watch this video. But for 2023, I was self-employed for the entire year, which is amazing. I started working for myself September of 2022 and am now sitting at a year and 4 months of being self-employed, which is very exciting. I am going to be continuing that, which I'm excited about. I have financial goals, which I'm not going to talk about in this video, but essentially my financial goals are staying at a level where I can keep working for myself, which I think is very possible, especially if I sell a book, but we will get to that in a little bit. Not that there's anything happening on that front right now, but that is one of the goals that I have for 2024. 2023 seemed to be a lot of self-discovery for me, and I would say that before 2023, I was getting pretty good at the whole concept of not waiting for other people to do things. So like I moved to Utah 2.5 years ago without knowing anyone out here because it was something that I wanted to do. Utah is the place that I wanted to be, still want to be, but I was very good at not waiting for other people to do what I wanted. I kind of caught myself slipping a couple times this year and deferring to what other people wanted to do and waiting for other people for me to then go do things with other people. And then I did 2 week-long experiments, one where I set a goal to hike every single day for a week and then also in that same week write later on in the day. And through that experiment and my other experiment of writing out of my apartment every day for a week, I started to see some of that self-confidence come back. Not that I think I lost self-confidence, but it definitely took a little bit of a hit as I was deferring to other people and what other people wanted to be doing. I also did the mental toughness challenge 75 hard, and that was definitely a self-confidence builder and just showing myself that I can continue to trust myself. I took a number of trips during 2023, including Minnesota, Florida, Washington, which was new for me, and New York. And on that New York trip, I also went to New Jersey and my first ever Michelin star restaurant. And not only that, it was a 3-star vegan Michelin restaurant. While I was in New York, I also met Catherine Manning and Cameron Monet, and I took their workshop on creating profitable influence and learned some really cool things about YouTube and social media tricks and how to make money online that I have slowly been integrating and hope to continue doing. I also went to Wyoming to go to Yellowstone. Also for the Yellowstone trip, even though Yellowstone is in Wyoming, I stayed in Idaho. So I went to Arches National Park with my parents, Yellowstone this fall, and Arches on another trip, and the Grand Canyon earlier this year because I did a road trip from Utah down to Phoenix, Arizona, which was like a 12-hour drive, and I got to hit a lot of really fun spots along that drive, so that was another place that I went. So I did 4 national park trips. I want to do more hiking in the Grand Canyon. I went in February, which was not great for hiking, so I literally just drove up, saw it, walked around like the edge for a little bit, and then got in my car and kept driving. And that road trip would be another thing where I was able to build some self-confidence because it was just me alone in a car for 6 hours, and then I stayed on the Utah-Arizona border, and then I kept driving to Phoenix, and then I got to see my parents, my sister, and my best friend, and then I drove 6 hours back. I stopped again on the border, but on the other side of Utah, and then drove the last 6 hours home the next day. So that was a really fun experience. I did film it, and then I decided that there wasn't anything creative about the video, and so I never posted anything, which was kind of a bummer because I got some really cool footage while I was there. I set a hiking goal for the summer, which was to do 25 hikes and 100 miles, and I hit that. This year, I also became an aunt as well as a plant mother to this massive plant, which is now the 5th plant in my apartment. I also had some really cool opportunities pop up. Someone messaged me on Instagram asking me if I wanted to join a writing group, so now I go to a writing group and get to write with other writers here in Salt Lake City every Monday night, which has been such a cool experience, and I will be talking about that more in a second. I finished an amazing freelancing project that was something that I never thought I would be able to work on, and supposedly it's going to come out Q4 of 2024. I'm sure I will share all kinds of things about that when that comes out, but as of right now, I can't say anything about it. I got my first YouTube sponsorship. I don't think it's going to be posted until the new year, but I got my first YouTube sponsorship, which felt huge. I started doing social media management for 2 fitness influencers in Minnesota that I absolutely adore and have now been working with them for a couple months. It's like a super part-time gig and have been enjoying that so much because it gives me variety and a different outlet of creativity than my writing and making YouTube videos about writing and freelance editing other people's books and everything. I also applied to Brandon Sanderson's creative writing class again, the writing workshop, not the lectures, which is my second year now applying, and I was not accepted, and I was amazed at the amount of relief I felt when I discovered that I was not accepted, mostly because that frees up a lot of time and flexibility during the upcoming spring, where I was starting to make travel plans to go see my family and was starting to get stressed out about the idea of not being available on Thursday nights so that I could be in that class. And I just feel like without the pressure of that class, my writing is going to flow a lot easier. And I still might apply again next year, but I'm glad that I didn't get in this year because it just doesn't feel like the right timing. One of the biggest things that I'm grateful for in 2023 is starting to make more creative friends. And so to get invited to that writing group where then I started getting to know some of the girls better, I feel like I'm starting to build friendships with some of them, is such a cool experience because there are other writers in Salt Lake that I enjoy being around. I was talking to one of them and they love camping and board games, and so we're gonna try and schedule some board game nights, which I'm super stoked about. And it just feels really good to have friends with the same creative endeavors, and also just being friends with other creative people who are trying to make creative things happen, which while it's not in person, I have filmed 2 podcast episodes now, and both of them I was talking to creative people, and I feel like those 2 people that I talked with, I'm going to be able to stay online friends with, which also hopefully podcast news coming semi-soonish. I want to get a couple more podcast episodes recorded and edited before I announce anything, but just know that I am working on that for 2024, and community is something that was really starting to come together towards the end of 2023 for me. Now, for writing, I am still on draft 6 of my book. I feel like I have been writing Project DE for a very long time, but I also know that I have been working on a lot of other things to put me in a really good spot with my writing. And so even though I did not finish book 1 of DE this year, I feel like I've set myself up really well to just continue forward with the momentum that I'm feeling, which I have been feeling for several months now, and I've really been just leaning into my creative projects and my creative endeavors. And even though I had some times where I would get down on myself because I didn't feel like I was creating enough, I didn't feel like I was writing enough, I'm so incredibly grateful for the Sara that was in 2023. She did a really great job, and I feel very proud of her. And I want to honor her and my future Saras as well by continuing this momentum and leaning into my creativity coming into 2024, which is what we're going to talk about next. Like I said, when I was talking to my therapist, I was really struggling with the idea of wanting to set goals, but not wanting to make specific goals because I know that things change. And then when I set goals and I don't hit them because things change, I get down on myself. And so in talking to my therapist, we actually talked about how I want to feel and what I want to do rather than what I want to accomplish, because as she texted me after our session, the way you spend your days is the way you spend your life. So that being said, I was so grateful with how much hiking I did in 2023. And I know that in 2024, I'm just going to have even more ambitious goals. I'm going to be training through the winter here in Utah so that I am even more in hiking shape by the time the next season rolls around, instead of starting from what kind of feels like 0 after not being super active in the winters. And actually with focusing on how I want to feel in 2024 over specific goals, I decided that I wanted to make a vision board for this upcoming year. So I'm going to work on that while we talk about the other goals and, well, not necessarily goals, but the things, the vibes, I hate the word vibes, but the vibes for 2024. Maybe the feelings, and I don't know how to phrase that. Unfortunately, I think that vibes are the best word for this, and I do not like that. I started a Pinterest board a couple weeks ago just to be pinning any photos that I saw that I liked the energy of and the aesthetic of that I wanted to bring into 2024. That also being said, this morning, as in the day that I'm filming this, not the day that you're watching this, I made this Instagram reel talking about what I wanted to be in 2024. I don't think YouTube would like the sound that was played over this video, but just so you guys know, it was super cute, loved it, super chill, and like, oh my gosh, I was gonna say vibey again, but super cute. Adventurous, creative, joyful, and bold. And that very much aligns with the things that I was pinning on this Pinterest board. I thought about printing out some of these images and doing a physical vision board, but I just don't really have the space in my apartment to hang it up. So I decided to make one on Canva to then make as the background for my desktop. A lot of them are writing or reading related. A lot of them are outdoorsy and calm and just have a very relaxed feeling. I also noticed that I was saving a lot of images of dinner parties. And while I love the idea of a dinner party, I think that what that means for me is just continuing to build that kind of community with people that I find that I have a lot in common with, and continuing to build up my creative community, especially because that has been lacking for so long. That's another thing that I did in 2023 for the first time, was I went to somebody's book signing. And when I say somebody, I mean Christopher Paolini, who is the author of Aragon, and I want to go to more book events. That was so much fun. I feel like I learned so much. It was just such a creative energy in that space. And then at the end of that event, I also got noticed for the first time in public, and somebody came up to me and said hi, which was an incredibly cool experience, made me feel like I was on the right path in a lot of ways. And I definitely want to prioritize going to book events and just really embracing that creative energy and just surrounding myself with like-minded people. That took quite a bit of finagling, but I think I figured out how I want my vision board to be laid out. Actually, I'm gonna go like this so that you guys can see it. The biggest thing that's jumping out to me about this vision board are the colors involved. They're just so warm and comforting, and a lot of these have very similar concepts, at least the way that I'm interpreting them, which is a lot of travel and being outside, a lot of writing and reading, and I just found some white space, so I need to delete that. I think you'll also notice the two things that say get published and publishing contract, because even though I said I don't want to set a super concrete goal for finishing DE in 2024, I would like to finish DE in 2024, and I would love to get a publishing contract signed for that. There are several really cute cabins. There are a couple bonfires on here. Like we talked about earlier, there's a couple images of dinner parties and just the community and camaraderie that can come with that kind of environment. If I had found any aesthetic board game pictures, I would have included that. I have a couple images on here of podcast recording setups, because again, even though I've only recorded 2 podcast episodes so far, I have really enjoyed them, and I would love to lean into that in 2024. And this is kind of the vibe that I would again, vibe, it's still not my favorite word, but this is the aesthetic that I would like to enter 2024 with. Like I included in that reel, I think my words for the year, which I have only ever done 1 word previously, but I kind of think that the energy that I want to bring into 2024 follows the words that I included in that Instagram reel, which were adventurous, creative, joyful, and bold. And I think that this vision board accurately represents those things. I actually really love this. I was not expecting all of these images to fit, but this feels very accurate, and I really like it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to tell me about your 2023 or your goals and aspirations for 2024, maybe that would be a better word than vibe, is aspirations for 2024 for me. But if you want to share any of that down in the comments below, I would love to read them and respond to you. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a big thumbs up, because that really supports my channel. Make sure you subscribed if you're not already, because I've got lots of fun videos planned for 2024. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.